Holman, even though I'm looking at you right now, you're not actually here. Where are you?
I'm not here.
I realize
Right now.
that. You're not here. You're actually on the road somewhere.
I am going to be, when I think this episode airs, or shortly before it, I don't know, somewhere between Utah and Colorado in the backcountry, wheeling with AV on I think it's an 8 or 9 day trip. It'll be like 500-600 miles of off-roading and probably like 2,000 miles of highway.
That's
a lot.
That's quite a humble brag. You're going out with AEV to spend 2,000 miles, 600 of which are off-road.
Probably more than that. I'm going to put more miles on the 392 than I currently have on the Aria in 1 week.
How many miles do you have on the 392 right now?
19,000.
Damn. I'm just about to crack 16. Well, though I haven't driven mine for
3 months.
Almost 4 months.
Yeah. I only drive mine on trips.
How's your windshield, by the way?
I've got one brand new one laying on my garage floor right now.
So mine, I just got another rock thrown at me today by the wonderful sand trucks that travel every single morning on the 605 freeway, going north and southbound. Is it east and west, north and south, whatever it is? North and south here in Southern California. There's the biggest sand moving project ever in the history of the entire world.
Yep, and all those trucks are in front of you
and
on the freeway.
All on this freeway because where I work by Banks is just pockmarked. It looks like the worst acne of Southern California.
Speaking
is right there.
Pits and pockmarks, that's what my windshield looks like because the very first day I had it, I guess it would be day 3, driving home, I hit Utah in a massive sandstorm where the winds were going 70 miles an hour and peppered the whole windshield. And so for the past 2 years, I've been driving with a windshield that looks like diamond sparkles, and it's horrid, and I hate every moment of it. But I've got a brand new Mopar Gorilla Glass windshield sitting in my garage that I was going to put in, and then I said, no, dummy, you're not going to put that in until after this trip, because we're going to be off-roading with a group, and it's going to be cool. We're going to have Prospector XLs. We're going to have Colorado Bisons. We're going to have Gladiators, Jeep Wranglers. So it's going to be the whole product line.
Second. Which day am I flying in?
I think you have to work.
All right.
You're the one who has an overlord. I'm my own.
Yeah.
Overlord,
You are your own
so,
boss. But
yeah.
I think I could get away for a day or two.
How are you? We're going to be in the middle of nowhere. We're not going to be like by the airport.
I'm going to call Dave Sparks and have me choppered in.
Oh, if you do that, you can come.
Okay.
I'll send you the GPS coordinates. I'd like to see that happen.
Did you say that? You see the dude? Dave built himself a barge so he could land in the middle of Lake Powell with his Blackhawk or whatever the hell he's got. It's ridiculous.
It's silly.
And awesome. Good for him. But like,
is it awesome or is it just douchey?
He
built a barge to land a helicopter in the middle of a lake.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like, really?
I don't know. I think it's if you can. He's doing it for the YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's got Whistling Diesel up there, and it's all this big thing. And I don't know if you guys are following that. I think it's entertaining. Some of it's douchey, but I don't care. It's all for it's not for the gram. It's for the YouTube.
All right.
Right?
Well, speaking of all that kind of stuff, let's backtrack to me being in Colorado.
Sure.
Wheeling and down the San Juan Mountains. I'm going to be in the state of our guest, Brad Lovell, who is our friend and racer, who is also...
You mean my buddy that cruised me around the Southern California desert in his
Bronco DR?
Bronco DR, yep. The desert racer at 100 miles an hour floating over whoops.
Yep, got the AMSOIL plastered all over the side of that thing. So he's getting ready for Vegas to Reno. He's got some other stuff going on. He just got back from the Fink race in Australia for the second year in a row, and I'm dying to find out if he won it again, because could you imagine how upset they must be that this dude parachutes in, wins a race, and then goes home?
Not because they pride themselves on that
Absolutely.
race. Like, that's a big deal down there.
Absolutely. So we'll get Brad on the show. But first, we have to thank Nissan, our presenting sponsor, who's been with us since the beginning. Nissan is a purveyor of very fine pickup trucks like the Nissan Frontier. So if you are looking for a brand new truck to replace that old jalopy that's rotting away in your driveway or returning to earth in your back 40, head on down to your local Nissan dealer, or you can build and price at nissanusa.com. Frontier is one of the best-selling midsize pickups out there, and you've got legendary Nissan reliability, durability, and it's just a great truck that we really love.
If you've got a 2011 to 2016 Duramax, guess what? GM has discontinued your hot side boost
So
tube.
I saw that post, and I'm not sure that they're allowed to do that because there is a law that states that you have to support vehicles for X amount of years. Is this a supplier thing? Is it a superseded part? Or is it part of a bigger package?
Here's what happened. we got a call from two mechanics. I guess they were like on Facebook, suppose. And they said, dude, thank God you guys carry the boost tubes because GM discontinued them. And we're like, there's no way. Those are trucks that are fairly current, right?
Yeah.
2011 to 2016, right? That doesn't make any sense. So I go on Rock Auto. No, they don't have them. I go on GM Parts Direct. Don't have them. I call up. I have Rick, our purchasing agent, look up GM Epic, which is who we buy all of our wholesale GM parts for, all of our AC Delco, stuff like that. They don't have them. I'm like, okay, maybe it's a massive supplier screw up, but I will tell you right now, you can't get them.
All right.
So whether it's discontinued or not, if you have a 2011 to 2016 Duramax, dude, if that boost tube, that rubber coupler that's atop on the hot side, which is the turbo, the compressor outlet, you should get yourself some insurance by heading over to bankspower.com and buying some 3.5-inch diameter boost tube upgrades. It's great insurance and it'll improve your throttle response. Head over to bankspower.com to buy yours.
And if you love your trucks the way we love our trucks, you want to head over to AMSOIL.com where you can see the very best in synthetic lubricants and oils. Gasoline motor oil, European motor oil, high mileage, hybrid, racing only, high zinc, diesel, natural gas, 2-stroke, 4-stroke. Doesn't matter what you own, AMSOIL makes the best stuff. In fact, we use them in our personal vehicles. AMSOIL is the first in synthetics.
And you were talking earlier about avoiding chips to your windshield and the nose of your hood. The way to avoid chips is by heading over to EGRUSA.com and picking up yourself a hood guard. They're incredibly durable, and they deflect all those rocks from hitting the leading edge of your hood and costing
bugs?
you.
Bugs too?
Sure, they do bugs, but the bugs don't leave chips. They leave goo, but you can wipe the goo off.
Yeah.
The chips are what bugs because you can't. Oh, that was weird.
The chips are what bugs?
Yeah,
I got it.
Are what
Yeah,
bugs.
I see what
because
you
you
did
can't get them off. We got one of those cheesy paint puns from the dealer, and those paint pens
you don't
never
need to do
work.
that if you get EGR product.
That's exactly right. Anyway, head over to EGRUSA.com to get your hood guard.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel and the ones that run on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh, oh.
It's the Truck Show with your hosts, Lightning and Holman.
Holman, you cool if we call my best buddy in the whole world, Brad Lovell?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
This is Brad.
Mr. Brad Lovell, it's Lightning and Holman with the Truck Show podcast. How you do?
What's happening?
Good. And how are you guys?
We're awesome. Hey, we have a quick intro to play as we do so often. Don't move.
Here we go. Truck famous, hero, star, VIP, ace, big wig, hot shot. Truck famous, big shot, big deal, big gun, big cheese, heavyweight, superstar. Truck famous. That's what you are.
Vroom. There it is. Truck famous, Mr. Brad Lovell.
Although I've got a bone to pick with Mr. Brad Lovell.
Wait,
What'd I
why?
do?
Wait, we're going to start off with a negative note?
Well, I got to get it out of the air. It's been weighing heavy on my chest here.
Is this going to go bad? Is he going to hang up on us? What are you getting at?
I'm just mad he gave you a ride in the Bronco DR, not me. That's all.
You were out of town.
I was out of town.
You schmuck. I told you sure you don't want to go? That was awesome. Brad, I owe you a big thanks and a beer because that was so much fun going around on the DR. And dude, he was flying. I think it was topped out at I think it was 97 miles an hour or whatever.
Nice.
Maybe it went a little bit faster, but floating.
Let's just call it 100.
Floating over the desert surface. Just.
Did you see somebody posted a dealership? I want to say it was about 2 weeks ago, and there's a brand new Bronco DR still in their showroom. And it was like I can't even remember. It's like a $400,000 or something like that.
That's about what it is.
And they had it for like a $5,000 discount. They're like $5,000 off our Bronco DR limited. You know,
the guy
so
who's
funny.
going to spend $400K does not care about $5,000.
No. I think that's why it was going around the internet because everybody was laughing like, really?
I mean, that's already the $400,000 is already discretionary income. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless there's some jackass that thinks he's going to make a business of it. You know, it's like I'm going to buy this Bronco DR and I'm going to race it and I'm going to get sponsor money and make a bunch of money. Like that's not a good business plan.
No,
No.
which is
That's
why
the
you
fastest
shouldn't be
way
in
to
business.
lose $400,000. Yeah,
We know the fastest way to make $1 million racing, right?
buy a boat.
No, start with $2 million.
No, I was purposely confusing the boat one. Right? Isn't there a boat one?
No, yes, the one where it's the best day and what is it?
What's the best day in boat ownership?
Yeah, and it's
buying
the
it,
buying and selling it.
Selling
Yeah,
it.
there
Yes,
you go.
Not
All
owning
right.
it. Exactly.
So, Brad, you've been busy lately. Not only did you take Lightning for a Lightning lap in the Bronco DR, but didn't you just get back from doing the Fink race again this year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you win again?
Any day's a good day out in the desert, but yeah, out in Australia, yeah, we had quite the battle going with me, and we ended up coming out on top. So,
Dude,
yeah,
killer.
that was definitely a big deal for us. We were running the Ranger Raptor down there with Ford Performance. Yeah, we had a battle. There was this guy Craig Lowndes, who is a pretty big deal over there in Australia. He's one of the supercar drivers over there, which is like their equivalent for NASCAR. He was running a Chevy with a Ringer Navigator that has something like 400 WRC starts. We kind of we didn't do too much research on those guys before we went over there because we didn't want to be intimidated. But yeah, we ended up talking to him during the race. Hey, you got a bench racing at any of these deals, and it's great to get to know people like that. But they definitely gave us a run for our money. But yeah, we ended up coming out on top. So super.
Dude, congrats.
Super
Dude, that
win.
had to just the piss off the Aussies.
Well, and I believe that Ranger Raptor that he raced down there is was that a right-hand drive truck too?
Yeah. Yep.
No
So
way.
that was the
No
same
way.
truck.
That's going to a boxing match and beating Muhammad Ali with one hand tied behind your back.
Or
That's hilarious.
or at least going to the octagon and bringing your boxing ring with you.
Right.
Well, I think the reason why we did so well is I was the only one driving on the opposite side of the course thinking I was still in the U.S. The whoops are beat down a little bit more over there. But, yeah, it's very interesting driving that vehicle. And we had it over here for the Baja 1000 in 2022. And we raced it down in Baja and won down there. And then it got shipped back over to Australia. So it's had quite a storied life. I tell you, it's easier running on the course on the right side of the vehicle than it is running on the street because you don't have to worry about your turn signals so much, which, by the way, are reversed as well.
Are they on the outside of the steering column?
Yeah. So
No, that's stupid. Stop that, you Australians. Cut that out.
The only thing they didn't do is reverse the gas and the brake.
And the shifter.
So
The shifter's still in the same spot.
Well, no, it's on you got to use your left hand.
Yeah, which is weird.
But they didn't reverse the gear ratio at least. But yeah, it's always exciting to figure that stuff out.
Can you imagine if they had put the brake on the right?
No.
Oh my
no.
God.
Well, okay, so Brad, I'll tell you my biggest mind F of driving overseas was I went to the UK on a Range Rover drive, and they gave me a Range Rover Sport at the airport, and then directions to drive to the hotel. And I'm like, well, I've never driven here before.
Oh, no.
But check this out. It was a German Range Rover, so it was left-hand drive. So I was in a left-hand drive car on the right, on the left-hand side of the road.
So you're skimming the curb on the whole left side.
Dude, it's crazy. The whole time I'm just thinking, all right, the middle of the road is the middle of the road, no matter what side you're. I mean, it was.
And were you worried about doors opening up? I guess
no,
there would have been the passenger door opening up.
It wasn't that. Like you can drive that way and it was okay. The thing that messes you up is traffic circles. I had to use all the computing
100%.
power possible to navigate a left-hand drive car in a right-hand or right-side road country, and then you add in a traffic circle, and you're going. I mean, there's times where I'm like, I'm not even going to turn. I'm going to go up here and make a U-turn just so I don't mess this up.
I'm guessing you were more alert during that trip than in the last 500 trips you've gone to anywhere in the U.S.
No Dr. Pepper anywhere in sight.
You were just like, I cannot crash.
Dude, it was weird. It was definitely one of those trips where you're like, I hope I can do this. And a couple days you're fine. Like we drove in New Zealand when the new Wranglers came out, and we drove left-hand drive cars down there. And of course, it's a right-hand side country. And so it takes some getting used to. You can do it, but it definitely requires all the brain power.
Why is it so arbitrary? Some countries are right-hand, some countries are
Most of
left-hand.
it's islands. You think about it.
Yeah, I guess
mean,
you're right.
there's a few that aren't islands, but Japan, Australia, UK.
Why, though? What does it have to do with living on an island? They can only go around the island clockwise or something?
I don't know. Listen, islands, they have their own species and things that grow up. They just did it different and they all kept it. I don't know.
So they're like iguanas that are like
yes, they're like Galapagos raptors over there,
right?
or left. I don't know.
They've evolved their own way because they don't interact with other species, according to Darwin.
Yeah, of course. But then how do all the islands know to coordinate like that? I don't know.
This is weird. We're off track here.
Is
Brad still on the phone?
No,
Can we lose him?
He's tired of us.
What?
So you've got Vegas to Reno coming up, and so that's going to be August 16th, I believe. What are you driving out there?
Yeah, so that's definitely the next big race that we're planning for, and we're going to take that Bronco DR out again and see what we can do in the U.S. Very stoked. We've been working to it's gone on its own little road show. It went out to Dearborn. It went out to Phoenix. It's been at my place in Colorado. Now it's back out in California, but it's all set and ready to go.
Oh, it's out in California?
Vegas to Reno.
Can I borrow it for a couple days?
Yep.
No.
I'll bring it back clean.
Do you have a $100,000 deposit?
Full tank of gas?
Right, exactly.
I'll buy the insurance.
You can't afford the insurance.
Actually, a $400,000 deposit.
All of it.
That seems steep. That would be the Bronco DR that has AMSOIL plastered along the side of it, right?
The desert racer, right? I wanted to ask you, so I'm glad you brought up AMSOIL. Holman, how many quarts have been ran through that DR since you started racing it? Like,
it's funny, he hasn't done an oil change yet because of AMSOIL's extended drain intervals.
So good, got it.
Yeah.
It's clean as a whistle.
That's interesting because we did run AMSOIL in it, and we replaced the oil after NORA, and everything gets sent off for oil analysis and all that, all the fluids. And I haven't seen the report back. I don't know if I could understand it if I did, but we do have fresh AMSOIL in it, ready for Vegas to Reno, and it's always a gnarly one because we're out in central Nevada in August. So you can imagine how hot it is, and
dirt,
with all
thermal
the
management
that DR comes with. In no AC. So it certainly crossed my mind what the fluids are going through in that vehicle when I'm sitting in the cab there, and 110 degree heat. The headers are glowing red hot.
What's the thermal management for you, Brad?
Oil. He just takes AMSOIL and douses himself with AMSOIL.
AMSOIL body chiller.
Bathes in it.
I remember racing Baja when you just get so hot in the car, you'd start sweating, and then you just unzip the top of your race suit and let the air come and cool you off that way.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is gnarly, and hydration is a huge factor. And in all seriousness, like down at the Baja 500, that's really hot over in the San Felipe area, people have definitely succumbed to getting too hot. So hydrating beforehand is really important. And, we carry Camelbacks in the car, and every pit stop we're slamming water.
I was going to ask if you were using Camelbacks or something else, because I saw some of the trophy truck guys and some of the other racers have like that pressurized stainless steel water system that they're using that keeps it cold, I guess, too.
Yeah, so we've messed around with some of that, with drink pumps and cooling canisters and stuff like that. Honestly, you just got to grin and bear it. Desert racing is not wine and cheese track racing, to be honest with you. So some of it you got to grin and bear it, but water's water, get it in you. And the real key, I'll tell you, is don't stop, because if you have to stop and get out of the truck and change a tire and be down by the brakes, and the lug nuts are hot, and you can get overheated really quick.
That's why I always like to race at night. I love night racing. To me, it's one of my favorite things. It's just the terrain's different. Obviously, the dust and the trail's different. You have to read the terrain and shadows. You have to have a really good light system on it, but it's also a lot cooler, and you don't have sun in your eyes. I love night racing.
And so, does Vegas to Reno involve night racing?
Yeah. So we'll anytime we do something like this, you got to go through a whole logistics plan and spreadsheet and estimated times and this and that. So I think we'll start around 11 a.m. and that'll put us into the night for about 2 hours. And we're actually splitting the drive up. A good buddy of mine who's done a lot of co-driving with me in the 6100 that we've campaigned for AMSOIL, Jason Hutter, he's going to be taking over for the last 200 miles of the race. So he's going to be the one that gets that cool night air, but he also gets, there's all these nasty embedded rocks right at the end of Vegas to Reno between the last pit. That's there near Dayton.
Super rough course. Vegas to Reno is no joke. I've raced it a couple times. Been out with Chad Hall when he was racing the first gen Colorado, or the first version of his race truck. And I think that thing had 31s or 33s on it, so not a huge tire. And you're picking yourself through the rock garden and stuff like that. I mean, there's some big stuff out on that race course.
Yeah, that's no joke. And one thing that I've definitely learned in my career racing with BFG, there's been an old saying floating around that company for years, and that's bigger tire, smaller desert. And I think it's been proven to me that that's certainly a remedy. So we'll be running 37s on the Bronco DR, same size tire that comes on the Bronco Raptors, but that definitely pays off. It fills in every hole and makes every rock a little bit smaller out there.
What's the average speed during the day versus at night? I'm just curious.
That's an interesting question, because honestly, some of the hardest times I think there are racing is right when you have sunlight kind of directly above you, because you can't read the variation in terrain. And the game of off-road racing is how fast you and your vehicle can make it through that terrain. Like, forget about the competition, but it makes it kind of hard to judge when the sun's right above you. So everything you're talking about racing at night, you have lights shining out, casting shadows in the holes. Now, granted, you can't see in the holes, but you sure know where they are. And there's also a lot less distraction around you at night. So I think that speeds are maybe a little bit slower at night, but I'm with you. I love racing at night.
I think it's more peaceful. You know, it's so, and you've raced Baja and stuff. You've driven. I've been in the right seat, but you get into your groove, and at night it feels like people are more spread out. You know where everybody is because you can see them a lot further out. Because you can see the lights and things like that. You know if somebody's coming up, whereas during the day you don't always necessarily know somebody's right behind you and until they're on you. But you get in that groove, it's a little bit cooler, and you kind of just, I don't know, I just feel like you get this tunnel vision at night, and you kind of just can cruise.
You get tunnel vision no matter where you're at.
Yeah, that's probably
so the only time that I've done anything at night, not racing, but just like out in the desert at any kind of a good clip, has been at Glamis. And I will say with that is scary as hell, because it's moonlight at best, and you don't know how big any of the drop-offs are. So because you don't have
what were
shadows,
you in, a rail?
Yeah, I was in a rail.
Did you have a lot
of
lights on it?
Yeah, but the problem is the lights are going forward, and if there is a drop-off, even if it's only 2 feet, it could be 30 feet. You don't know. You can't see over it.
You shouldn't be on any roads that could have 30-foot drop-offs.
Seems
I don't
extreme. Know. I'm saying, like, you can't gauge how big any of this stuff is, unless, I guess, you pre-run it. And then
which is part of why you want to pre-run.
Okay, so if you pre-run it, then you know that you've marked anything that's like a giant pothole or a drop-off or something. But like, that is the scariest thing for me driving. Any of my driving experiences have been, except for my guy in the GTR, which I told you a couple weeks back, that was the scariest. But second to the GTR where I had no control was Glamis in a sand car or in a side-by-side going full throttle, and literally the guy that I was with like, no, we'll be safer, and just skies it off and just... Whee! And then and I don't know if we're going to lawn dart and die, or we're just going to land, in a cushion of sand.
No gratuitous death allowed. Yeah, if I had a race car on my dash, would be 2 stickers. One would say no airbags, we die like real men. Right under it, there'd be an asterisk, and it would say no gratuitous death.
Okay, gratuitous
those would be my two.
I'm going to go see Gratuitous Death later tonight. I think they're playing late.
Oh, no, I managed that band. We're not touring right now.
Oh, really? Oh, you broke them up?
Yeah. How ironic! I gave them Gratuitous Death.
Yeah, that's what I see happening.
Hey, Brad, I'm kind of curious. You have raced all sorts of different stuff. Obviously, right now we're talking about the Ranger Raptor, which is more like a stock mini sort of a class, and then the DR is kind of almost touching trophy truckish. It's a full tube frame and high-end suspension.
It
and all that.
Sounds like a trophy truck.
What's your favorite thing to race? Do you like the full-built race trucks, or do you like the production-based stuff?
That's a real interesting question, and I think That's a broad topic for me. What keeps me motivated in racing the most is the adventure behind it. I can compare it to short course racing, where it's all out adrenaline and trying to get a door on people and just smash them off the line. And I love it. And you got to amp yourself up for it. It's like a boxing match. We did that for a lot of years and absolutely loved it. Conversely, racing a stock class truck in the Baja 1000, you're surviving the fastest. And you better have everything sorted out, all your plans made, all your spare parts. And it's definitely a more tactical thing. King of the Hammers is kind of the same way. There's a million ways that things can go wrong in King of the Hammers. I love going fast. The funnest thing I've ever driven is our spec trophy truck flying over whoops in San Felipe. But what keeps me coming back is the challenge and the chess match of figuring out how to survive the fastest. So I don't necessarily like getting my kidneys beat in on every bump in stock class vehicles, but these Raptors are becoming so adept at the desert, and people don't understand what they can do. And you can push those things really hard. And I'm fortunate to get, a bunch of seat time testing and racing those. So I take a lot of pride in doing that. And I love the chess game of figuring out how to survive the fastest.
So does it come down to the old simple adage, better to drive a slow car fast or a fast car slow?
Wait, I got to think of the fast car slow. Well, no, you got to go
or fast car fast.
The car will go. Right? I guess it's the fast car fast. But, really the challenge, like I say, in short course racing, you're battling other trucks out there. In desert racing, it's you and your vehicle versus the desert.
For sure.
And then, that combination, if you figure it out, if you know that vehicle and you can really make it dance. And I do training out there in the desert, and one of the guys that came out, he came out in a rental car, and just on the way out to the training facility, he's like weaving and dodging and staying up on the crown and watching out for bumps. And it's like, hey man, you're killing it, because he's getting the most that he can out of that vehicle.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, the art of racing. And believe me, I have a ton of respect for the guys that are doing that in the most cutting edge vehicles. But one place where I haven't had fun racing is when you're outpriced, and it can become sour really quick. So I like playing where it's comfortable, and everybody's got a different budget, and I've played at a lot of different budget levels, but right up to the point that I can't afford it is where I'm having fun.
So, Brad, there's a couple different styles of racing, whether it's NASCAR, Formula One, whatever. And some is just around a track and you're trying to beat the guy next to you, literally door to door. But then there's a lot of the off-road racing is time-based, correct? So do you like racing where you take off at the starting line, kind of like a supercross, for example? Everyone leaves the gate at exactly the same time. You get the whole shot, but maybe you fall, the guy passes you, that type of thing. As opposed to time-based, like you're all taking off at different times and someone's hitting the stopwatch as everyone goes across one by one, and you're kind of on your own, right? Technically, you're out there with other people on the race course, but you're in your own class. You have a time to beat. What style of racing do you prefer and why?
To me, I'm not a showman, and I have spent plenty of time doing land rush starts at Crandon, and I can remember Bryce Menzies saying, Bryce has raced all kinds of stuff. And he says, there's nothing as intense as doing a land rush start at Crandon. And he's right, because you sit there forever, and they have 17 big race trucks lined up, and you get a 100-mile run at a receding, going down a hill, right-hand turn that's kind of blind. And unless you're the first one or two trucks into that turn, you're getting rocks thrown at you. You can't see anything. I mean, it's horrifying. And I love doing that. But as a racer, the more races I do, I think the more I become mature about racing. And as a racer, I like the idea of purity of the sport. And that comes through staggered starts. Like King of the Hammers, they do 2 cars every 30 seconds. And that throws everybody out there at once. And I guess I like that if I'm in front of the group, if I qualify well. But really what I like is, the longer gap you can get there, the better you have equal odds to the guy leading in that dust column. And it seems weird, but the further you move up in that dust column, the faster you're going. So the lead car on course, he has his own challenges. And that's why I think it's important that those guys have a chopper, because there could be other people on course, who knows what kind of hazards they're facing. But the further you go up in that dust column, the faster you're naturally going to go. And if you're sitting in the back, there's not much to do. And I've tried to fight it. And I had lots of time to think about it when I was upside down in a tree. So not doing that again.
Well, it's funny because you going through sort of your thought process on that stuff. I don't know if I guess if our listeners, our regulars, have gotten to know you a little bit because we've had you on several times. But just to remind people, one of the things that kind of sets you apart from other drivers is you have kind of, in a sense, become a wheelman. It doesn't matter what the discipline, because you've won a championship in rock crawling. You've run championships in Ultra Force short course racing. You've won in desert point-to-point off-road racing. You've won in trophy trucks and in production vehicles. I mean, you've been lucky enough to really drive almost everything competitively. It's pretty amazing.
Except for Vespas. I don't recall seeing anything about Vespas.
That's because we don't talk about that. He took that off his bio.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
I will tell you that I got to test drive an off-road snowmobile out at King of the Hammers one time that has competed in Vegas to Reno. So
okay, that's weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it was fast. But the thing is, a lot of these opportunities, they didn't turn up overnight. And for many, many years, the only vehicle I ever drove was the vehicle that we built, that my brother and I built. So, really it kind of points out a little bit, what drives me. I like the challenge. I like new things. I don't want to be stagnant and sit in one spot and, win a race 20 times over. I like new challenges. And the problem is they get bigger and they get more expensive. And, if I have everything comes to me, it's, I forget where I got the terminology, but it's a wild, crazy dream. You have what you're doing now, what you want to do, and your wild, crazy dream. And for me right now, my wild, crazy dream, I want to go run Dakar. That's always been a race that fascinates me. And I agree. I think a lot of people think I should do it, but a lot of people think I should pay for it too.
There's that. So do you hesitate when your phone rings with an unknown number now, or do you jump on it immediately?
It depends on the location, I think. If it's some no-name town in Colorado, I've learned it's probably a spam call. But, I just think, you got to set yourself up, whatever you're doing in life, for these wild, crazy dreams, and then you take steps toward that. And I don't know if I'll get there or not, but it's certainly something that fascinates me.
I think you're definitely going to get there. One of the things that is fascinating to me is looking over your career, and you've been racing since the early 2000s, and you were the 2012 Dirt Sports Driver of the Year, and you've gotten accolades and championships and trophies and checkered flags and all that good stuff along the way.
We're really blowing up his dress, aren't we?
Well, but here's the thing. You've been a member of Team AMSOIL, so obviously AMSOIL supports the show, and they've supported you since 2005. And I just wanted to say, that is not a normal thing in racing and in corporate sponsorships, that somebody would stay with the same company for decades. And I think that's truly impressive and something worth mentioning.
You're right. And I owe so much of my career to AMSOIL, and it's certainly not just a check. I approached AMSOIL about a sponsorship way back in 2004, and it took time, and eventually we won enough races and we were doing enough things that we got a product sponsorship. But I did it because I saw the authenticity and the value, and there's a lot of focus on quality in the company, and it's not a marketing company. It's a company dedicated to making the best products. And I'm very thankful to be involved with AMSOIL and to consider them part of our racing family. So I owe so much to them, and it's not just through support of our team. It's through quality products and running the best oil out there. And people always ask me like, hey, did AMSOIL fix your problems with this or that? And it's like, I never really had those problems because I've been running AMSOIL for my whole career.
Touche. I think a lot of people don't realize that it's the Amatuzio's company. Like, this is not some big board of directors. This is not some big mobile one. Not that that's bad, but I'm just like, it's their name on the product. And it's no secret that I work for Gale Banks. It's literally his last name on every single product we make. And Amatuzio, it's no secret that that's their name baked into, it's AMSOIL. And so they're only going to put it out, whatever the product is, whether it's a degreaser, whether it's a grease, an oil, fully synthetic, whatever. It will sully their name if it's not the best it can be. So I think that matters.
I think relationships matter too, right? I mean, there's a lot of companies who their philosophy is, we'll stick with somebody for a season or two, but we like doing different things, and so that's all it's going to be. So to see those lasting relationships are pretty special. And I mean, I guess you could say that with you and Ford as well. I mean, you were a Ford person, just an enthusiast racing Ford-bodied vehicles or Ford vehicles early on, and your son's got one, and now you're actually racing for Ford Performance and doing things with Bronco and development stuff, and it's pretty awesome to see that side of it flourish as well.
When he took me out in the DR, the Ford guys from Ford, not like some hired guns, they worked at Ford. Yep. They were literally crawling all over, taking all of the GPS data and like temperature probes out of it and all this stuff, and it was really neat to be like, I saw kind of a glimpse of a day in the life of Brad Lovell, like with all the Ford team. It was cool.
It's a lot of sitting.
Yeah, a lot of sitting.
Yeah. You know what I've learned is, as soon as you stop, all the engineers come over. So you can't stop. You just got to keep going or stop far enough away that they can't come get all the data, or it slows everything down. But yeah, we've always been a Ford family, and it's an interesting story. That's kind of how my racing career started. When I was a kid, I wanted nothing more than to have a CJ5. And my dad would not get me a CJ5, doggone it, because he said they roll over. And he's probably right, looking at standards now. But what's interesting is he got my brother a Bronco too. So I don't know. But in any case, I ended up with a Ford Ranger, and that caused me to, I wanted to go make a rock crawler and go do all this cool stuff. But it caused my brother and I to have to develop a lot of those parts ourselves. And we're an interesting lot. We never wanted to develop that stuff and sell it to other people. We just wanted to develop it and make it cool for ourselves. So, we've always been Ford people, and for a lot of years it was tough. I can remember being out on the lake bed at King of the Hammers, having an engine problem with a Ford engine, and every pit down the way has spare LS parts, but nobody had Ford stuff. So it's kind of turning around, but Ford has had a lot of success out there, and it's definitely been one of the highlights of my career for sure, to be involved with Ford Performance, Bronco, and all that stuff, and to see what's coming next, which I could talk to you about, but I wouldn't be part of it anymore. So
I know that story. Hopefully I'll see you there, maybe at some point.
Right. Absolutely. We'll have you out.
I want to read something from Brad's Facebook page, dated July 21st. We went looking for adventure, ran out of gas, killed 2 alternators, destroyed a wheel bearing.
And this is why we'll never race a Chevy.
Hold on a second. Destroyed a wheel bearing, stolen credit card, dodged some rainstorms but caught in others, and had a harrowing near miss on the highway. Found some new trails and have never been before, and found a glimpse of the beauty that makes me still love Colorado. Yeah. Very thankful that things went the way they did. So, what was that story?
You know how I said that, adventure is what keeps me grounded, keeps me interested. Sometimes maybe you don't set yourself up with the best odds. And we've had trips like that. I mean, on one hand, I'm doing logistics for Ford Performance for the Baja 1000. On the other hand, I'm going up in the mountains with my kids, and sometimes you just don't make plans to see what happens. So my son, Adam, he just took out his version 2 of his Ranger. The first one died a long multi-day death in Moab over spring break. So he found another one, found an $800 Ranger and took the cab and the bed and put all the parts together, and he finally got it done. So this is a maiden voyage on that. And I have a 46 Willys Jeep that I built when I was about his age. So we took those two vehicles and off we go into the mountains. And yeah, it was a bit interesting. The first alternator failure, I'll tell you, the kids, both my sons, Adam and Brian, they're really smart and they know what they're doing on cars. But every car, I call it new car blues. You got to go through them. And the terminal for the charge terminal and the alternator grounded out on the case. I don't know if the ring terminal was a little bit big, but that caused a small mess of melty and smelly burny bits. So we were up in the mountains, so we went back down to AutoZone, and the only alternator they had was a remanufactured alternator with grease stains on it.
Oh boy!
Which I looked at and it was like, no, I don't want it because somebody else already had it
and returned it
back.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, nope, don't want it. But it's the only one they had. So what do? We put it in. We get, I don't know, 5 miles further than we were last time, and it dies. But the good news is about those old vehicles is it seized up. So we popped it free with a wrench, and he was able to drive for another 2 hours with turning off all the electrical systems. Those old vehicles don't use hardly any electricity. So we'd stop, and I'd jump them here and there, and
that
we'd
sounds
go back
awesome.
to where we're going. But yeah.
Does it have the old flathead in it still?
So this Jeep, I have a 43 that is 100% stock with a flathead, and that is absolutely one of my favorite vehicles. This one, I hate to say it, some people are going to have to close their ears, but it has a Chevy 4.3 Vortec in it.
Which is actually a really good engine. So my 42 GPW has an odd fire in it. And my old 51 that I had to sell long ago, my CJ 3A, had the flathead in it, and it was completely tuned, and it just ran like a sewing machine. Like, I couldn't believe how well that thing ran. And flat fenders with the original stuff is cool.
How much horsepower in that old 3A?
60.
60.
Yeah, and it was called the Go Devil engine.
Like literally a sewing machine.
In fact, that's why it won the military contract, was because the Go Devil engine, the Army was, loved the power of it. And so they were like, ooh, this one has a few more horsepower, we're going to go. And back then it made a big deal. But the 42 GPW with the odd fire, and it's super crusty. The whole thing's crusty. It's still at the metal shop. I've been at the metal shop for like a year, and I'll get it back home at some point. But the odd fire is basically the predecessor to the 4.3 swaps, right? I mean, those are actually sort of the perfect engines for those things, because the V8s are a little bit too much, and the V6s fit really nice in there and still, don't cook themselves to death.
So I had one of those odd fires when I built it. I built this thing like in the 90s, and I came home from college and I couldn't find a job, so I figured, you know what? I'm going to buy this old pile of junk Jeep. I'm going to fix it up and sell it. And you can see how that worked out.
Yeah.
I still have it.
He's not a good salesman.
You fall in love with these things. They're like potato chips. You just can't have one.
Right. So I got an odd fire. I rebuilt it. I put it in there, put a carb on it, and it was all right. And then I figured I want to fuel inject it.
Yeah.
And, I pride myself on not quitting on a lot of things in life, but I quit on that project. That was, maybe it's 2000, but the signal going to the distributor or from the distributor to the fuel injection, it could not make sense of it. And we tried and eventually capitulated and got that 4.3.
The 4.3 is great.
Fires, we ran into another guy up there. You know how Willys guys can always sniff each other out.
Oh, yeah.
We ran into another one up there, and he had the 225, and we had a look at it, and it's always good wheeling. There's so much camaraderie.
Well, it's funny because I think it's Howell now makes a fuel injection conversion for those things, and they have they have the signal for them, because we had them on the show and we're talking about it, and it's there's all these people who have bootlegged different signals, whether it was a pickup on the crank, or there's a few different ways to do it, but we're far enough along in life where those things are out there and they're fuel injected. And I'm telling you, everybody's like, no, put a Motorcraft on there or a Quadrajet, And I'm still like going, man, that HAL EFI system sure would be nice.
But you haven't done it, have you?
Well, I haven't. It hasn't been home for a year
Gotcha,
either.
yeah.
I got to go bring it back.
So here's the better question. Who stole your friggin' credit card, Brad? Who would do such a thing?
Oh, jeez. I wish I knew. Everything was going good until I opened up my wallet and it's not there. I don't know what happened.
And then you went on your phone and you saw Bronco DR had been charged to it. You're like, I already have one.
Oh, so wait a minute. So it could have fallen out. There is a chance that you weren't pickpocketed. It actually it fell out somewhere.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. It's one of those things, going to gas stations, making charges, this and that. Maybe I dropped it. Who knows? But I wasn't worried about it until I started seeing the charges show up.
Because I'm reading your post here, and it's just like, I love how it's all bad, all bad, all bad, all bad, and then you
that's why you kept reading it, because you love reading in people's misery that isn't your own,
but
and so you kept going.
But at the end, very thankful things went the way they did. So he put the spin on it and got a nice little silky bow and tied it up at the end. You know
what we saw up there. I mean, it's no secret Colorado's getting very crowded, and we're reaching the point that people are going up. You can keep your camper in one spot for 2 weeks apiece in national forests. People are going up and just moving their camper every 2 weeks, and like it's getting very congested. Trails are congested, and what I find on trails, the more people there are there, kind of the less friendly people are, or the less camaraderie there is. But there's a trail system up above Breckenridge, and we got up on top there and looked out over the different passes and the whole valley, and you're on top of the Continental Divide, and there was a mountain goat just hanging out up there. And we had lunch up there, and he was just hanging out the whole time. And it was just a reflection to me. Those are the roads I grew up on as a kid, and where I first found adventure in off-road on my own. And that's why I did it, to see those different things, to go find new stuff.
Well, then I'm going to apologize, because I'm going to the San Juans next week. And I'll be one of those people from out of state cruising around your trail system. So I'll apologize now.
Just don't roll your truck on Black Bear and close the whole thing down.
Hey, did you know that I am the first person in the world to drive a fully electric vehicle down Black Bear Pass?
Is that true?
It is really?
True. Yep.
The Rivian?
The Rivian, the R1T, during a development drive. Yep.
Wow.
So I have that claim to fame. I've done Black Bear a bunch of times, and going out with the AEV crew, and we're going to go do San Rafael Swell in Utah, and then head over to the San Juans, and we're going to be doing about 600 plus off-road miles between the two.
Wow.
So it should be pretty awesome.
You're killing me. That's to me, that's what it's all about. And
camping, no hotels, the whole deal.
And I love going fast off-road. I love it. But you know what? There's a lot of beauty to slowing down and seeing those spectacular places.
Oh, for sure.
And we've done a trip from kind of the Colorado-Utah border way out through Green River. We did the White Rim Trail.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
the San
so
Rafael
good.
Swell.
Yeah, so good.
And then headed down to San Juans. And that was the year there's so many avalanches. Like every avalanche chute that could fall fell. And
I think it was September of 19 or 20. I can't remember. We were up in the San Juans, and it was September, and a blizzard came through, and it was like that one year where the earliest snowfall that had come, and we were up on Ophir, and we got boxed in by clouds with snow lightning and thunder, and all the rocks going up the top were iced over, and we had to turn around on the trail and take the shelf road down and be careful coming back down because we couldn't make it to the top. It was so icy up there from all the weather. Yeah. We just were losing traction on that rocky last bit toward the top. So this time I'm conquering it. I'm confident in that, and I gotta make that happen. So I love it out there. I don't wheel out there near enough, so I'm excited about it.
But you know what I love is the fact that adventure on its own scale still exists in this world. And that's where you find it. You find 100%. It on those icy rocks and the snow lightning, and thinking to yourself, you know what? We might die. Time to turn around. and that leaves something for the next trip to come and conquer.
All right, listen. Hey, Brad. So for the Vegas to Reno, how do we follow along on your antics?
Yeah. So we'll, we have, everybody's got Starlink now. We got a Starlink on the truck, so we should be live streaming in some form or fashion through Facebook and Instagram. So definitely on Friday the 16th, you said? Yeah, it's got to be the 16th. We'll have all that live stuff going. We'll be on the AMSOIL Facebook page. Ford Performance will be doing updates here and there, but we're really targeting kind of the live streaming this time. So there'll be good coverage, and Best in the Desert does a lot. They'll have live timing through each pit. So, keep your eye out on social media for some of those adventures. So,
Awesome.
and maybe we'll take that trail you're talking about back down south.
You know what? I'd be happy to take you anytime and show you my my neck of the woods.
Sounds amazing.
I've got lots of trails out there, including you got to come on a trip with me, and we'll go do the East Mojave Heritage Trail, which is 733 miles of off-roading.
Wow,
it's epic. It goes all four corners of the Mojave.
By the way, he doesn't have that kind of time.
I would make time for Brad.
No, he doesn't have that kind of time for you.
Well, I don't have that kind of time either. I'd still make time for him.
We just got to schedule it in between races.
Perfect.
And get the kids to do the prep work.
There you go.
Or something. I don't know.
I love it. Well, the offer's open. I'd love to take you out in my neck of the woods. And then if you guys are from Colorado on the weekend of September 4th, so the 4th through the 7th is the Bronco Super Celebration West, and that's going to be at the Buena Vista Rodeo Center in Buena Vista, Colorado. And Brad is going to be there with the Bronco DR, so you'll be able to see the truck up close and meet Brad and check it out. So any of you Ford and Bronco fans who are in the Colorado area, make sure you get out there and tell him the Truck Show podcast sent to you, and that way he knows that people listen to our show.
Are you reading that event information on the events page on truckshowpodcast.com?
Yep, truckshowpodcast.com, and then just hit the events tab.
Well, Brad.
Yeah, so absolutely. We got to see how that thing comes out of Vegas to Reno. It could be a pile of busted up fiberglass, but we're going to have it there one way or another.
I love it. All right. If you guys want to follow Brad, he's at Brad Lovell 44 on the gram.
All right. Be fast and be safe, friend.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on the show. I love sitting here BSing with you guys about off-roading. Good
Anytime.
stuff.
Thanks, brother. We appreciate it, and hopefully I'll get to see you in person, before Lightning does.
Well, no, that's not cool. I heard you. I'm sitting right here.
You saw him last time. I haven't seen him in a while.
No, we're going to see him together.
All right.
I'm not going to let you one-up me.
Okay.
I got to get me some more Brad, too. All right. We'll talk to you soon, Brad. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Later.
Bye.
657-205-6105 is the 5-star hotline. You can call it 24 hours a day and leave us a message.
Oh, come on and be part of the show. Call the 5-star hotline. 657-205-6105. It's the 5-star hotline. 5-star hotline.
Hey, thanks, Ian Hall Racer. I was listening to the Johnny Lieberman interview, and he kept talking about the electricity's the way of the future, even in rural America. And one point that I have to make, two things they have to overcome. One, when we're hauling livestock, they have to make it where we can get range, and B, the fill-up time is as fast as what it is right now when we pull in to get diesel or gas to fill the trucks back up. So we can be on the road in 15 minutes. You can't be sitting there for an hour with a load full of livestock. And two, last winter they had trouble getting vehicles all charged up whenever we got into those negative temperatures and stuff on it. And we had to have our vehicles every single day to feed during the wintertime on it. And until they come up with a way to overcome the not being able to charge whenever it's sub-freezing temperatures, rural America won't adopt it because they have to be able to go out there and have that truck or tractor start because they have to have it to be able to give the livestock feed every single day to keep them alive during those cold snaps. So anyway, continue to lower the suckage, and 5 stars.
I appreciate that. I hadn't considered livestock.
I mean, we've talked about rodeos and things like that. People have 1,000 miles to tow a 20,000, 30,000 pound trailer full of cows, bulls, horses. What are they going to do? They're not going to wait hours on the side of the road. And again, going to the point where we talked with Johnny, it's like, if you want these truck people to be able to use the technology, why aren't there drive-through EV charging stations? Everything's a pull-in. And so what do? Unhook your trailer and then go charge and then rehook your trailer? I mean,
I think
it's not thought out for that.
They will figure that out. EVs
aren't going to work anytime in the near future for heavy-duty trucks, period.
Probably right.
100% right.
Lower the suckage!
Congratulations, you have earned 5 stars.
657-205-6105 is the number that this dude called.
Well, Jay, it's time to get her the Range Rover.
So
that's funny.
He heard the
baller
call with
episode,
my wife,
right?
Wait a minute. She's going to go from the Porsche to the Range Rover.
No. The Porsche is a fake Porsche. We've already established that.
I know, yeah.
And she wants a
Volkswagen.
Range Rover.
Yeah, she does.
And that's what you're going to get instead of a Maverick ST.
Dude, if they had 6-month leases, I should just freaking Turo these things for her now. It's ridiculous.
Oh, you could Turo. That would be a good idea.
It would be insanely expensive.
You've boxed yourself into a single-car garage with no exit.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. 657-205-6105 is the number that you call to bash Lightning.
Lightning, Holman, I have a question. Just heard the podcast where the gentleman was asking about the Caterpillar truck, and I'm going to piggyback on that and ask if you have seen the video on the Kia truck. Cannot remember the name of it off the top of my head. The YouTube video that I watched, it's got some pretty badass styling. Sorry for the cuss. And just wanted your opinion. 5 stars. Later.
5-star review! 5 stars! And that would be the new Kia Tasman, which is a mid-sized pickup truck. It kind of reminds us a little bit of a mix between the Rivian, the Nikola Badger, and something from China. Sort of like the thing they're going to.
So it's a thing.
It's got crazy graphics, and it hasn't been announced yet, but it's not really meant for the U.S. It's going to be focusing on the Australian market with the Utes, things like that. Obviously, Ranger and Toyota battle it out there. And it's definitely going to be overseas, I'm sure Southeast Asia, other places. They want it to be a global vehicle. But I think Africa, South Korea are also on the list, maybe even the Middle East. So they have a YouTube channel. So if you look up the Kia YouTube, it's called the Tasman. And they also show a ton of testing. Engineers did 1,777 different types of durability testing. And then
how many?
1,777 and about 18,000 individual evaluations to dial in the truck. Now, if that truck does well, I mean, maybe there'll be a SUV that it can share the platform with. That might make it viable for North America. But for right now, it's a global truck. We won't get it here. Plus, the chicken tax, which is the 25% truck tax for anything built overseas, isn't going to work. So that is probably not coming here anytime soon. But it's definitely interesting to look at. And if you want to know more, go to the YouTube channel.
Holman, the inbox overfloweth. Are you good for some email?
Let's do some email.
You email, yeah. I email, do it. We email, that's right. Everybody email, type it up. You email, proofread. I email, send it. We email, click it. Everybody email.
All right, you want me to start this one at truckshowpodcast@gmail.com?
Go for it.
All right. Jonathan Randolph writes in about a Honda Ridgeline, apparently. Dr. Whole Pepper and Sir Lightning Biscuit.
Okay, that's
Dr. Whole Pepper and Sir Lightning Biscuit.
Yes,
yes,
those are going to stick.
Interesting.
But
a couple of weeks ago at a local autocross day, I saw the most unbelievable thing: a Ridgeline doing truck things.
What?
It started as a normal Saturday morning at the autocross course, but as people started to arrive with their trucks and trailers, one of the tow rigs looked quite different. It was a Honda Ridgeline, towing a tricked-out Civic hatchback on a flatbed car hauler. As I sat in amazement watching them drive by, the thought crossed my mind, does this actually make it a truck? I quickly came to my senses and realized, no way, Jose. But I think this guy and his Ridgeline might actually get an honorary truck pass. Let me know what y'all think. See the attached photo as evidence. And sure enough, there it is.
Dude, it's awesome.
That
it's a first-gen Ridgeline with a camper shell towing a dual-axle trailer with a souped-up Honda Hatchie on the back.
Super cool.
I'm sorry, it's rad.
Yeah.
I get honorary truck pass for this dude. He's actually using it. I like it.
Agreed, 100%. And he asked for a Finnegan Yeah Buddy, followed by a Taste the Biscuits.
Yeah, buddy.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
I am moving right along. All right, I've got this one here from, let's see, Mike Bonomo says, Mickey Thompson tires suck. He says, Truck Show Podcast Team, a.k.a. the Great Lightning and Holman. First off, love the podcast. You have definitely earned 5 stars.
Congratulations, you have earned 5 stars.
I purchased some Mickey Thompson Baja Boss AT tires in September of 2023 after you discussed them on a podcast. I believe they were on a Ford Lightning for an efficiency test or something like that. I was super excited to get them on my Tundra, and they look great. I'm currently in southwest Wyoming to do some off-roading, and on the county-maintained dirt road, I took a rock in the dead center of the tread and ruined the tire. Not that you were recommending
Ouch.
Mickey Thompson tires during the podcast, but your discussion of them sparked my interest. I'm just sharing the story to alert others that Mickey Thompson tires, in my opinion, are not what their website indicates. At over $300 per tire, I certainly expect to be able to drive on a road that the Nissan Ariya can without ruining an off-road tire. And I quote from the website, premium, extreme, hybrid, all-terrain tire. Thanks for the excellent content every week, Mike Bonomo. But wait, Lightning, this is actually a two-part email because he writes back. Mickey Thompson tires suck. Update.
Okay.
He says, just wanted to let
Are
you
they
know.
worse now? What happened?
Well,
Are they flat? Like what?
He said, it has no air and it hasn't gotten better. He says, just wanted to let you know that Mark, quality manager at Mickey Thompson Tires, reached out to me directly to discuss my concern. Mark authorized the tire store to provide a pro-rated credit so they could replace my Baja Boss tires, which are not available in an LT rating, with their Baja Legend tires that are. That was great customer service. Way to go, Mickey Thompson.
Wow.
So there you go.
You know, that's one of the tire brands we've not had on the show. We've
tried
Toyo, Nitto.
We've tried.
Have we had Firestone, Bridgestone? Maybe not, huh? Interesting. We've had Milestar. Okay, so Wade Goldsmith writes in and says, witchcraft? In the subject line. How brave are you guys? He asks. And then he shares a picture of Dr. Pepper spicy bourbon flavor. With a very funky looking can. Huh. I'd try it. Would you?
I'd definitely try it. But
where do we get it? Is this real or
I have
is
no
this,
idea.
I don't know if this
first
is
thing
AI.
I saw. What I always say though is Dr. Pepper is perfect as is, and anytime you add a flavor, it's never better. So, but I'll take the flyer on it.
I disagree. I really like the cream
soda is the only one that's close to being.
I think it's great.
It's not better though than the original, but it's not horrible.
I think I agree with you. I think it's great, but not better. And I'm going to do a twofer here. Tow rating is subject line from Matt Burgess. Hello, shed dwellers. Holman, is there a place to find tow ratings of older trucks? I'm looking at a 1995 F-150 long bed, two-wheel straight axle 6. A Google search said 7,500 pounds. That sounds correct, but just wondering if you knew of a source that could back it up. Love the show. Keep it up. And that's Matt in South Florida.
Yeah, so there's a lot of places you can find it. I don't know if there's one aggregate that has them all. Tow ratings are super freaking complicated. And if you've ever looked at just the 2024 Ford commercial fleet manual, for example, there's hundreds upon hundreds of entries that have to do with wheel type, single or dual, gear ratio, 4x4, 4x2, wheelbase, transmission, engine, and
short cab,
all of it.
Regular cab, dual cab, extra cab,
all of it.
Crew cab, short bed, long bed.
The whole thing. So it's one of the things that I don't know if there's one place. I would be happy to do a search. If somebody out there knows that there's a place to get all that, then feel free to drop us a line.
Truck Show Podcast is where you hit us, guys. TruckShowPodcast.com is where you'll find gobs and gobs of content and our email addresses, so you can find that schmuck and this one.
The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh, oh.
And you can reach these schmucks at Truck Show Podcast on the gram at Truck Show Podcast, at LBC Lighting, at Sean P. Holman, or you can email us truckshowpodcast at gmail.com, Lightning at truckshowpodcast.com, or Holman at truckshowpodcast.com. And you can find out more on our website about featured products and deals like habanero tools or a free subscription to OVR Magazine. Just go to truckshowpodcast.com and go down to our featured products page, and you can check it all out. And then, guys, we haven't had any good reviews in a while. Please leave us a 5-star review either on Spotify or on the Apple Podcast app.
We deserve it because we're better than ever before. You know that, right?
So we're basically, our competition is us.
Uh-huh.
We just have to be better than us.
Yeah, we set a super duper low bar.
Well, okay.
The bar's so low, we just step right over it. You know what I'm saying?
Is that how that works?
Yes, it's just crazy. I do want to reiterate. I know you brought it up just now, but like our product page, our partner page, what the hell is it called again? On our website.
Featured product.
Featured
You
product
realize
page.
you named it, right?
I know it. I
Okay.
just can never. I've got a mental block. I can't come up with it for some reason.
Wow.
Our featured product page. If you want something EGR related, there's an amazing rebate program, all right, with your boys, Lightning and Holman. We put that together. If you want, he just talked about that habanero torch, the soldering gun, at 40% off. And by the way, it's everything on their website.
How about California car covers?
California car cover, 15% off. Dude, I didn't even know this. We got credit, by the way. There's 4 guys at Banks that have already bought car covers, 2 for Miatas, go figure.
Yeah.
1 for a Camaro and 1 for a truck. So 4 just at Banks. I didn't even know about till just the other day. I seen pop up in the parking lot.
Hopefully they used our code.
They did that. No, absolutely.
Awesome.
Cool. I had sent an email out to staff and whatnot. So again, if you're looking for a car cover, 15% off California car cover.
And if you want a discount on Banks products, just DM or email Lightning, and he'll take care of that.
Because that's like my secret code.
That's like our in and out secret menu right there. Just hit up Lightning.
I make like these custom codes with your last name in it, so it's like bespoke just for you.
Yeah,
these guys are pretty stoked.
That way you don't get caught giving our listeners discounts.
No, I do. Colin, Gail's son, he sees every single order. Hey, what's this discount code for?
What?
I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure. All right. Listen, if you're in the market for a new truck, hang on down to your local Nissan dealership or type in Nissan USA to your browser. You can build and price the brand new Nissan Frontier. A great, dependable, reliable, awesome pickup truck that'll do everything you need to do, especially if you don't need a big old, giant, full-size pickup truck. Frontier's sort of perfect.
Not sort of perfect, is. And if you have a 2011 to 2016 Duramax, boost tubes are apparently very hard to come by from good old General Motors. But you know who does have them and their upgrades? BanksPower.com. Go from your really puny 2-inch boost tubes that will eventually burst because they dry and crack on the couplers to 3.5-inch high-flow boost tubes that are powder-coated Banks Red and they'll last you a lifetime. BanksPower.com to get yours. And by the way, there's boost tubes for all the major turbocharged diesels.
Did you know that synthetic oil has a ton of benefits, including improved engine cleanliness, maximizing your fuel economy, increased wear protection, and provides all these benefits that conventional motor oil simply can't match? If you're thinking about synthetics, you want to head over to AMSOIL.com where you can learn all about it. What motor oil viscosity you should use, what motor oil types there are, what goes into making synthetic oil. All that information and more is at AMSOIL.com. And of course, we use AMSOIL in our personal vehicles, and it should be the first choice on your list for synthetics.
And our friends at EGR out in Ontario, California will hook up your truck with all sorts of amazing, absolutely wonderful quality parts. For example, roll track, tonneau covers, fender flares, VSL lights, window visors, hood guards, side moldings, and one of my new favorites, under seat storage. Head over to EGRUSA.com to mod your truck. The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis with production elements by DJ Omar Khan. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and give us a 5-star rating. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to show your support than by patronizing our sponsors.
Sir, it's time for you to stop this unhealthy behavior.
No, it's not.
You need to take responsibility for your life.
Not right now, I don't.